Hey y'all,
Hey,
we're the Irish Twins, and
we are the Irish Twins.
today we're doing a story time.
We're doing a story time, and it is about.
Well, we're naming our story time Reflections of Our Present Day.
And this is part one.
Part one.
Part one is going to be about what's going on in the world today. All lives matter versus Black lives matter.
Yeah, we're gonna start talking about it. Start off by talking about All Lives Matter versus Black Lives Matter. Now, I'm not as well versed as my sister is, so I'm gonna start it off this time, cause I'm sure she's gonna chime in and go on. So, All Lives Matter versus Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter because right now that's what it is. There's no one fighting for the black lives that are being taken. No matter how it's being taken, there's nobody fighting for it. All lives matter, of course. All lives matter, but right now we're not focusing on all lives. We're talking about the black lives.
And if everyone believed that all lives matter, we wouldn't have to forcefully say that Black lives matter. We wouldn't have to remind you that Black lives matter.
Right.
If all lives matter, we wouldn't have to remind you. And like my sister said, I'm very passionate about this topic because I've mentioned to you all before that I have 3 boys. And guess what? They're black. And when they go out into the world, I'm constantly saying, y'all behave, y'all behave, y'all behave. And I know they're like, Mom, please, but it has been proven over and over and over. We can't remind you enough how many times that it has been proven that our black young men have a doggone target on their back, on their front. They can be sitting in the car. They can be doing what you said. A man got shot laying on the ground with his hands up in the air. How threatening is a man laying on the ground with his hands up in the air?
What about, even outside of all the deaths that have happened, I'm not minimizing the deaths and everything, but just the everyday disrespect to black men because they are black. Now, I understand why you might think a certain look may make them look thuggish or unpresentable, but that doesn't matter. I read a story on Facebook where a lady's husband, they went to Dave and Buster's, and the lady's husband, he had cornrows, and just because he had cornrows, a girl purse was stolen, and I think he turned the purse in. Did you read it?
No, I didn't read it.
Well, I don't know, I can't remember. He had turned the purse. He didn't turn the purse in. What happened is that just because the purse was turned in, when they gave the purse back to the girl who was the owner of the purse, the person who worked at Dave and Buster's told, yeah, I know it was a guy with the braids, and it was only one black guy with braids in Dave and Buster's that day.
So it had to be him.
It had to be him
because he was black and he had braids.
And he had braids.
And he had braids, and of course that's what
they wanted to put him out of Dave and Buster's, and it's really sad. And basically they told the girl, look, when this stuff was going down, we wasn't even here yet.
We just got here.
And so the girl retracted what she said, and they still got put out. And it didn't matter, but they was like, look at your cameras.
Mm-hmm. And that's just like one example. We could sit here all night and give you example after example after example of black men being a target and being innocent. And a lot of times the person who's your thief, the person that's gonna cost you or violate you, or
the one that look innocent,
is the person who you believe to be innocent.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's that little old lady who you think is walking off slow. It could be her that's sticking her hand in your purse and taking your stuff. Or it could be that young girl with the pretty blue eyes and the pretty flowing blonde hair that's running up behind you and popping you in your head. And we never know, but everybody think. I remember in Save the Last Stand when the girl said, "You all white, so you gotta be right." But
right.
But I love everybody. I love everybody. But my issue with the
Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter.
My issue here is the perception that we all have inbred in us. Me, her, my children, my best friend, my daddy, my aunt. It's the perception that we have. And how can we change the perception of that? Because it's saying that if I'm your friend and I see something happening to you and I stand by silent, then I'm agreeing with whatever is happening to you. Does that make sense? I'm agreeing to that.
Yeah.
And so that's why when you are my white friend, I'm talking to my white friends now. When you're my white friend and you counter Black Lives Matter with All Lives Matter, you're telling me that the status quo is all right. That's what you're saying. Look, I still love you. You're my white friend.
Yeah.
However, you've been raised to believe that the status quo is all right, and it's really not. It's really not. We need to see each other as equals. You need to see me as just as worthy as you are. Raise your hand if you want to trade places with me. Raise your hand if you want to be a black woman in today's society. Raise your hand if you want to be one of my sons in today's society. Raise your hand if you're a white person and you would trade shoes with a black person in a second. And if you can't raise your hand and you can't say that I would trade shoes with black people in today's society, then you are a part of the problem, because you recognize that there is a problem and you don't want to have to go through it.
And I mean, on the other side of that, we have black people who will say, but what about black on black crime? We're killing our own people, but Mexicans kill Mexicans, white people kill white people. All races kill one another. It's just that when media portrays it, the media magnifies what we're doing, and it's not doing the same thing for others. So we sit back and we start bad mouthing our own people.
Yeah, and we are all led to believe that more black people are in jail, that more black people commit crimes, that more black people are on welfare, but when you think of America per capita, there are way more white people in America. So guess what? There are way more white people per capita in jail. There are way more white people on welfare. There are way more white people committing crimes. The same crimes that black people commit, white people commit. Mexican people commit. Asian people commit. Indian people commit. We are all one race of people, and we all bleed the same blood. We are all the same. And guess what? We are more alike. We are more the same than we are different. We are more alike than we are unalike. And we need to start embracing our similarities. We need to start embracing our similarities and being human. That's what and we need to stop recognizing the differences in us with disdain. We need to recognize our differences and wonder at how they make us all beautiful. How me and my sister can have the same mother and father and come out looking as different as we do. And love that about human beings.
It just, instead of trying to come together in a time where we need to come together, you have the people who just always want to be, they just want to be that different person and think that it's right, you know, and they'll go to the other side.
They want to troll. They want to be trolls. They want to make light of the situation, and they want to just irritate everybody. When right now is not the time for irritation.
What about black on black crime? What about black on black crime?
And we're not saying that it's okay for black people to kill black people. We're not saying that it's okay for white people to kill white people. We're not saying that any of that is all right. But what we are saying is, it is definitely not okay for police officers to kill black men and nothing happen to them. They are murderers. That's and they're still, they murder black men and then they go home on a paid vacation.
Yeah, they get time off. So I guess that segues into police brutality. I mean, basically, we said it all. It's not right for you to be able to murder our black men and black women and get away with it. It's not self-defense. it's not that they haven't been rushing at you or doing anything. You're just killing them
and getting away with it.
and getting away with it
And getting away with it.
and getting away with it.
And
Time
again.
and still get paid. And the thing about it is that I don't even think they even care. I don't even think they have a conscience that they just literally murdered someone. At a time what the things that they're supposed to be doing is really getting people who are murdering people, but yet they have something to say bad about the people who murder somebody, but yet you can murder someone.
Yeah. And police are here to protect and to serve. They're supposed to be going after criminals and catching criminals and putting criminals behind bars. And y'all, there are so many police officers out there that protect and
I
serve.
believe police, two people I believe are very underpaid, and that's police officers and teachers.
Police officers
I believe y'all are so underpaid because y'all put your lives on the line so many times. But then you have the ones who are just the bad ones, and those are the ones we're talking about.
And yeah, we're specifically talking about those who don't respect their badge, who don't, because if you respected your badge and you respected what you do and you respected your boys in blue, your brothers and sisters who are out there fighting crime with you, then you wouldn't take for granted the lives that you do. You wouldn't take that for granted, and you wouldn't use black men as target practice the way you've been showing us that you will. And it's getting to a point to where it's happening so much till we're getting desensitized to it. And I'm saying, I'm standing up and I'm telling you right now, it's not okay for people to die. That's not okay. It'll never be okay for people to shoot people and for people to die. We will always be up in arms about black men killing black men, and we'll always be up in arms about white cops killing black men. And this Blue Lives Matter, you can say Blue Lives Matter, and they do, because we appreciate you for going out there and doing your job. We appreciate you for that. Blue Lives Matter, but guess what? You're not blue 24/7 like I'm black 24/7.
So
I cannot go home and take off my uniform and become someone else. I'm gonna always, when I go to bed tonight, I'm gonna be Black Felicia. When I wake up in the morning, I'm gonna be Black Felicia, and that's just the way it is. But you, sir, can retire. You, sir, can quit, and you, sir, can come home at night and take your doggone uniform off and go back outside and be Joe Blow from around the corner, and everything will be all right. But I can't do that. Neither can my son Daniel, my son Caleb, or my son Joshua.
Or me.
Or my sister. Or my sister.
And I also want to bring up what people do when they feel like they have nothing else to do. When they feel like, you know,
they're out of options.
They're out of options. People start looting. People start, you know, and as bad as, yeah, it's in our own neighborhood that we're doing this. But they feel like they have nothing else to do. They're angry. They're mad. I don't like to see it. I think it's bad. But I understand the reason why. I understand. And look, I don't need nobody white to say, y'all they doing it in their own neighborhood. They looting and taking money from their own people. I understand it's bad, but shut up, because you don't understand.
No, you don't. You don't understand.
You don't understand. These people feel like they have nothing left to do.
And another thing I want y'all to stop saying is get over slavery. I want you to stop saying get over slavery, because we were enslaved for 300 years. 300 years. And it's only been...
It hasn't been that long.
It hasn't been that, maybe 2 or 3 generations that we've been out of slavery.
Yeah.
It hasn't been that long.
It hasn't been that long.
And then when we came out of slavery, guess what we went into? Jim Crow.
Jim Crow.
Jim Crow. And we're still suffering the effects of slavery. We're still suffering the ideologies that we believed when we were enslaved. We're still suffering from that. And for anybody to say get over slavery, you think about this. Mothers, children were ripped from them and sent somewhere else, and they didn't know where their children were. You had men who were studs, who went around and slept with all the women slaves and got them all pregnant. You had women slaves who were raped by their masters or by the men who thought that they owned them, and then their children got a mama as a slave and a father that owns their mother and them, and all of these ideologies and all of these, the house slaves versus the field slaves and all of that stuff is inbred in us, and we're teaching it to our children. And you can't just get over that. You can't just get over that. You have to make, when you say get over slavery, what are you saying? Your grandmother didn't matter. It don't matter that my grandfather raped your grandfather, so just get over it. What are you actually saying? What do you actually want me to do? No, you didn't hurt me. No, you didn't hurt me. But you saying that does hurt me, and I can't get over that. I can't get over that until you see me as equal. That's the only way that I can get over that, is when me and Becky walk into the same job, and me and Becky have the same qualifications, and you choose me because you like me better, not because I'm prettier, but because my personality. And you choose me on the content of my character. On the content of my character. That's what I'm saying. Until everything is equal, we're not going to be able to get over it. Until everything is equal, we're going to continue to say Black Lives Matter, because you don't believe that all lives matter.
And I think it all boils down to respect, which is our next point, and just point blank respect. Respect us. We'll respect you. You know, and that's it. Respect one another. Don't degrade or belittle us. Don't do that.
Yeah, and I think that we have gotten so cavalier about murder. We've gotten so desensitized to taking of lives. I am a victim. I'm guilty, y'all. I love action movies. I love action movies. I love to see stuff blow up. I love gunfights. I love all of that. So I'm telling you, I'm guilty of this hypeness of cavalierness and all of that when what we're throwing out into what we're watching. I'm guilty of that, and our society and our children well, not my children per se, because I think that I've raised them different, but our children are so cavalier about life. You have men who young men who walk around, they don't respect. You know, when I was being raised, when I was coming up, if I seen a grown adult, I changed the way I walked. I changed the way I talked. I respected adults.
They don't even care. They don't even care that, you know, they know you don't like for them to wear their pants below their butt, but yet
they still want to wear their pants sagging. My children are guilty of that. Right now, my son's crotch is almost down to his knees, and he still ain't picked his pants up. He still ain't picked them up.
I ain't got no socks on. I was just trying to cover.
Whatever. He don't have no socks on.
The thing is, this is about respect. It was a time where when people dressed every day, you never saw a guy without some slacks in a button-down shirt.
Mm-hmm.
A woman was always dressed in a nice dress.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's not like that anymore. You don't know if they're a man or a woman or a woman or a man. There's no respect for person.
And people get angry when you point out that. Another example. Somebody saw this little girl. She looked like she was about 8 or 9. And she had on some tiny shorts. And she was like, "Would you let your daughter walk out the house with these little itty bitty shorts on?" I don't have any daughters, but I promise you, my daughter wouldn't be walking around with them itty bitty shorts on. One year I took my cousin.
That's teaching your child to respect
herself. One year I took my little cousin with me to the beach, and her mama sent her some bikinis. I was like, "Ooh, cousin, I don't think she's gonna be able to wear these bikinis when she with me. She gonna have to cover up." And that's just the way I am. Men are gonna be men. They're gonna look. So I'm not gonna objectify a little girl that way and make them dress like an adult. I'm gonna dress my daughter like a little girl. What it all boils down to is, y'all, we have to look at each other and love each other and respect each other. And behave like we believe what we say, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Yeah. And respect that.
And respect that. And I respect you as well as you respect me.
And I love you.
And I love you.
Yeah.
And I love you. Thank you so much for coming and watching our story time. Thank you so much for being a part of our family, the Iwish Twins family. Thank you so much for subscribing.
I really appreciate it.
For sharing our videos, for liking our videos, for commenting on our videos.
For giving me stories saying that you watched it.
Yes, we really appreciate that. For giving us feedback. I appreciate that as well. We love you all so much. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for coming back time and time again. And we'll see you in the next video.